వెళ్ళిపోయిందిగా అయితే నాకు చెప్పు.
Hi, good evening, all of you guys. Hope all of you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Guys, is I'm audible, guys? Is my voice is clear?
Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Yeah, guys. So let's continue from the last session, guys. So I can see some kind of new participants are there. So I can see some people who has been joined for the today's class. Yeah, guys, can you use the chat panel and just let me know who has been joined? I think is it for the today's class? Have you joined for the today's class? If you join for the today's class, just type as a first session. If you already joined yesterday, you just type it as a second session actually, guys. Today is your first class, Neeraj, okay? So that I can get some idea, guys. Second session, second. Okay, I think most of the people has been from second class only, right? Vivek is first, okay. One or two couple of guys. Second, Kushal. Okay, Vinith, first session. Okay, guys, fine. So I can see some 2 or 3 participants are there, guys, who has been joined for the today's class. So we are into the demo sessions only, guys. We have not yet started with any actual practicals. We have been not started with the actual practicals. And we have not started with the actual course curriculum also, guys. Still, we are in the discussions. We are still in the demos only. So don't worry. I think 3 participants I can see. 3 participants I can see. I think they have been joined for the first class. Today is your first class. I think Vinith and Vivek and another one is Vivek. I think 2 participants only, guys. Vivek and Neeraj. Yeah, Neeraj, Vivek, and the other one is going to be the Vinith. I think these are the 3 people actually, guys, who has been joined for the today's class. So don't worry. We are still in the demo sessions only. Just we have started with some introduction to the machine learning actually, guys. It's only demo sessions only. So just what we can expect from the machine learning. So where do you use the machine learning in the real applications? We have not yet completely discussed about that also. Just a little bit introduction, like what are the things we have to do in our machine learning. Like I have given some introduction, like what is data loading, what is data analytics, what is data visualizations, some kind of how my course curriculum will be there, what are the topics we are going to be learning, what languages we use. So I'm just giving the overall view about our course curriculum only, guys. Even I done started with the main practical also. Anyhow, in our actual classes, actually within maybe today and tomorrow, guys, we'll be discussing only just like a discussions. After that, maybe we have a festival holidays are there due to some Sankranti here. And after that, maybe by the next Monday, you will be starting with our regular classes. Will be starting. The main course curriculum will start. These are going to be just like a demo sessions. Actually, I'll inform you guys about the holidays. But anyhow, these are only just a demo sessions. Actually, guys. So yesterday, I have been given some introduction related to what is going to be a machine learning. What are the tasks we are going to be doing them. So those are the things I have been got discussed. Not much into that particular applications, but I have given some idea actually, guys. So like I told you about some questions I have been answered. So the people who has been missed yesterday's classes, don't worry. So Durgasoft people is going to, my backend team is going to share you the recorded videos, guys. They are going to share you some recorded videos for you. You can get that particular recorded videos actually, guys. You can get some kind of the recorded videos we are going to be getting actually. Just give me a minute once, guys. Just give me a minute once, guys. Yeah. Maybe some problem with my pen tablet. I'll be using the MS Paint for the timing, guys. Yeah, fine, guys. No issue. I can use any of the softwares. I can use it actually. Yeah, guys. Let's continue, guys. Yeah, guys. So what I'm talking about here is my backend team is going to share you whatever the recorded videos are there. Just one day class. I have taken the recorded videos. I'm going to take it actually, guys. They will share you the recorded videos. You can just review that particular classes. Just one workshop has been taken place, guys. On Sunday, I have just taken a workshop. And on the second, that is yesterday, I just started with a little bit demo have been got started with them. We are not started with any implementations actually, guys. Fine, guys. So if anybody has been missing yesterday's class, guys, so just go through the video. Our backend team will share you the recorded videos. You can go through that particular videos and we can study them actually, guys, right? Fine. So let's continue, guys. Today I'm going to just start up with some the basic terminologies which we use it in machine learning. So all these topics will be again and again repeated when I start with the actual machine learning course actually, guys. So when I start with our actual machine learning course, I'm going to review those particular, I'm going to give you the idea. Again, I'm going to have a discussion about that particular classes. So don't worry about them, guys. We are going to be just discussing about this particular application, just an introductions only, guys. Now, yesterday, if you remembered, guys, mainly in our data science or machine learning, mainly our learnings are of three types, guys. One is going to be what we are going to call it as a supervised learning. And the second one is going to be what we are going to call it as an unsupervised learning. And the third one is going to be nothing but we call it as a reinforcement learning actually, guys. We call it as a reinforcement learning actually. So right now you can't understand what is unsupervised, what is reinforcement. I'm just adding a little bit flavor of that machine learning terminologies, guys. Completely new terminologies will come, guys. It is not like your normal programming languages. Completely new terminologies will come. Completely. It's a completely so many new terminologies. So just to become some habituated, just to get some kind of an understanding, it takes a little bit time. Anyhow, first we are going to start with Python classes actually, guys. So the first 15 days, 20 days, you don't find any much problem actually. First 15 to 20 days, you don't feel any problem actually. But once I start with machine learning, some kind of a new terminologies will start up actually. So many new terminologies, guys. So many new terminologies we are going to work with them. So many mathematical concepts will work. So many mathematical manipulations. So many new things will come. So completely new to everybody, guys. So whether you are having a 15 years of experience, 13 years of experience, completely data science contains new terminologies. We cannot compare with them. We cannot compare this machine learning with Java or some other Python, so Java or some other language actually. Even Python is not related to machine learning, guys. But we are going to use Python for implementing of machine learning. Why? Because yesterday I told you, Python provides you all the utilities. So as I told you guys, in our course curriculum, we are going to be learning two languages. One is a Python, and another one is going to be the R language. These are the two languages which we are going to be using them actually, guys. Okay, fine. So today we are going to, my main idea here is to add some little bit flavor of this data science terminologies into our understanding actually, guys. Okay. So once again, guys, yes, like linear algebra is required, differentiation is required, absolutely. So it is going to be gets required actually, guys. How it is required? why it is required, we'll understand them, Shushil. Okay. So how can a knowledge of maths is required in machine learning? Because your machine learning is going to be, every machine learning algorithm is going to be nothing but one mathematical solution only. Actually, guys, this is a mathematical solutions actually. To implement some mathematical formulas, we are going to use the Python language. So machine learning was a solution to a task which was solved by the mathematicians and statisticians. So every machine learning algorithm we see, a neural network is there actually, guys. It's a machine learning, it's a mathematical concept behind them. What is going to be convolution neural networks? A mathematical concept behind them. So it is a mathematical solution for a particular problem. So every algorithm will implement the maths actually. If you understand the maths behind them, even if you don't understand the maths, it's not a problem. You can apply the algorithm, but you can apply the algorithm, guys. No problem at all. We can apply the algorithm. But the only problem here is if you don't know the maths behind them, we can't control that particular algorithm. Like for example, yesterday I have shown you something called as decision trees actually, guys. We have been seeing something about a decision trees, right? So coming to the decision trees, what is a decision tree, how it will work? If you don't know it also, you can implement a decision tree algorithm. But how do you control them? If you want to control the decision tree, we have to know what is the math behind them. A decision tree works based on the entropy calculation, or it is going to be based on something called as an Gini index actually, guys. If you see the decision trees, you will get entropy. I think some of you have been heard this entropy actually, guys. So anybody remember, guys, where is the term entropy you remember generally? Anybody? Anybody has heard or remembered this entropy, guys, in our school days or our 10+2?
In mechanical engineering, thermodynamics.
Yes, absolutely, in thermodynamics, which is going to be, as well as in physics, you are going to hear it. But this entropy is different actually, guys. But terminology is the same. But we use an entropy concept, which is we are going to define as part of the, which is what I'm going to call it as statistics. Entropy in statistics actually, guys. Normally, if you go online and verify what is going to be entropy actually, guys, you can see that entropy in statistics is there. Entropy in thermodynamics actually, guys. Law of thermodynamics. It is going to be nothing but a law of thermodynamics actually, guys. So both of them are going to be there. Normally, if you open this, you may worry about that, sir, why you are learning thermodynamics basically. So that is going to be what we call it as an entropy. That's an thermodynamics will say that entropy of a gas, something that is different, guys. Whatever entropy in statistics is going to be different actually. So the entropy in statistics is going to be different actually. This is coming under something called as an information theory actually, guys. It is going to be some kind of an uncertainty in the data actually. It's some kind of an uncertainty in the data. That is what this particular value will tell. So whenever we are working with a decision tree algorithm, you can apply the decision tree algorithm. But what is an entropy? How do you understand them? How do you understand that particular insights? That is what exactly we have to talk about them. So just an example, I'll show you yesterday's the example what I have been shown you once. Yesterday I shown you one example actually, guys, one decision tree algorithm actually. So once you look into the decision tree algorithm, I've shown you some kind of a tree. Don't worry about them who has been not attended yesterday's class. This is not a practically I have shown in the class actually, guys. It is just only for understanding how the machines learns actually. If you can observe carefully, there is something called as an entropy is there. Something like entropy of 0.997 actually. How this entropy number will come, I'll tell you the math behind them. But we don't write any calculation, guys. To understand this, we have to understand what is an entropy. To understand this, we have to understand entropy. Why the entropy has become 0 here and now. Why the entropy is not became 0 here and now. That is what we have to understand. So if you want to understand how this algorithm is working, you have to understand this mathematical concept entropy. But we never write any calculations for them. The algorithm will implement that particular entropy calculations. The entropy, that particular algorithm is going to be works on that. So if you understand what is an entropy, we'll understand how the decision tree will works. Otherwise, we can't understand them. Yesterday I told you guys, KNN is going to be there. KNN is going to be works between based on the distance calculation actually, guys. So anybody remember the idea, guys? So if we calculate the distance between, for example, I have A, B, C is there actually. The A, B, C actually, guys. The distance from A to C, normally we call it as a distance. This is, you know how to calculate the distance from A to C actually, guys. A to C distance is what we are going to call it as the Euclidean distance, what we call it as. Generally, the mathematicians knows about that. So, and we all of you know that AC square is equals to nothing but AB square plus BC square actually. Some Pythagoras theorem actually, guys. AC is equals to nothing but square root of AB square plus BC square actually. So simple to calculate whatever the distance from here to here, if you want to travel from distance from here to here. So if I travel from A to C directly here, that is what we call it as an Euclidean distance. But if I travel from A to C by traveling from A to B and B to C, if I travel like this, that is what we are going to call it as what we are going to call it as an absolute distance, we call it as. Why call it as an absolute distance? We'll discuss about them. We have some distance calculation. There are different type of distance calculations in mathematics actually. See guys, all these machine learning concepts is related to mathematical solutions. Everything is a mathematical solution only, guys. Everything is a mathematical solution. So, but to apply that mathematical solutions, we are using some kind of an algorithms actually. Okay, that's why I said that as part of our classes, you will be learning all these particular, whatever that particular the algorithms are there. So how that particular algorithms will work, that is what exactly we'll study in our course curriculum actually. Okay, each and every algorithm, guys, each and every algorithm we'll be discussing in the class. So how the maths, what is the maths behind them, everything is going to be there. So today in our 6 to 6 p.m. batch, I'm currently discussing about something called as an logistic regression. So how the logistic regression will come? Simply, I can explain them. Logistic regression equation is e to the power of x by 1 plus e to the power of x. But how this is derived, that is what I'll explain them. I'll explain this in our class. How the variation, how do you study that particular equation? That is what we are going to study them actually. Okay, fine guys. Okay, now come to our discussion actually, guys. A small terminologies I'll say that. So in mathematics, you know this guys, you generally write it as y equals to f of x. So can you just define what is this y equals to f of x, guys? How do you define it actually? What do you mean to say y is f of x actually? Y equals to f of x? How do you define it, guys? Anyone? Yes, guys, anyone? Y is equals to f of x. What do you mean to say about it?
X is the function of
No. Y is a function of x. Y is a function of x, right?
Right, sir. Right.
Yeah. Y is equals to nothing but a function of x. What do you mean to say y is a function of x means the y value is going to be depending on the value of x, right, guys? Y is a value which is going to be depending on the value of x actually. So coming to our machine learning also, guys, your machine learning task is also defined as y equals to f of x. So here the y is going to be nothing but the variable. So y is depending on x, right? Y is going to be depending on x. Y is generally what we are going to call it as a dependent variable. It's a dependent variable. So how that particular time and the speed is related, or how that particular speed and which is going to be some other thing is going to be related. We are going to define as a function of x. So y is nothing but a dependent variable and x is going to be nothing but we are going to call it as an independent variables actually, guys. So once again, all these terminologies will come in our actual classes, guys. Today we are just adding up little bit flavor of the machine learning terminologies. So dependent variable is nothing but whatever the value you want to find out. X is going to be nothing but variable which will decide the y value. So what is the machine has to learn here is, guys, how this y and x, if you give some data to the machine, how this particular y and x is varying, or how that y is depending on that particular x, that is what my machine is going to learn it actually, guys. That is what exactly the machine learning task says that. So y is nothing but what is our dependent variable. That means what we are trying to find. X is going to be nothing but our independent variable. Generally, X can be independent variable or independent variables actually, guys. Like, let us talk about an example. As we are discussing one common example, guys, like in a banking loans department, our the department wants to find out, they want to do some develop a model. They want to develop a model which can predict who could be the defaulters, who could be the non-defaulters. So many examples we can write them, guys. Who is a defaulter and who is a non-defaulters. So my loans department is there. The loans department people want to find out. They want to develop a model. Whenever a customer applies a loan, whenever a new customer comes to the bank and applies a loan, what is the chances that he is a defaulter? What is the chances that he is a non-defaulter? So as we are already discussing about that. So how can you develop a model? This model is going to be developed based on our past customers data actually. So I'll study all the past customers data behavior. Based on that particular behavior, I can say, so these are the chances that these people are chances that they are the defaulters, these are non-defaulters. But what they are going to be depending actually, guys. Carefully, guys, even if you don't understand also, don't worry about that. Look at this one, guys. Age is there, something like gender is there. So we have some information actually, guys, whether the person is a married or not. So what is the salary he is earning actually? Number of credit cards he is having. Okay, number of credit cards he is having. Some information is there. And I have a column like a defaulter is there. These are my data actually. Just imagine that this is our data actually, guys. Try to understand what I'm saying actually, guys. So this is the data that has been given to us. The loans department people has given all this data to us. These are my past customers data. Past customers means we already have a knowledge who are the defaulters, who are the non-defaulters. Let's example 32. Let us say that male and married is S. His salary is going to be 50K. Number of credit cards is 3. Defaulter is not a defaulter. 34 years of age, again a male, married. Let us say that it is a no. Salary is going to be 30K. He is having number of credit cards 1. Defaulter is S actually, guys. Something like that, we have some data is there actually, guys. Something like this, we have a data actually. Now observe carefully, guys. From this data, what is my variable which I have to predict actually? So my variable which I have to predict is nothing but our defaulter. So what we are trying to find, what we are trying to predict, that is going to be nothing but your Y value, guys. That is going to be nothing but your Y value. So here the Y, whether he is a defaulter or non-defaulter, is depending on some of the given features. These are all nothing but the features actually, guys. They are what we call it as the features. Features are nothing but I call it as an X actually. So in mathematics, to represent that Y is a function of X, here also I'm going to be defining this like this, guys. So how can you write this in a mathematical way? The defaulter is going to be a function of, which is going to be nothing but maybe the age, maybe the gender, maybe the married or not. It may depending on some of the features actually, guys. Married, what is the salary, number of credit cards. So all these are going to be nothing but our X actually, guys. So we have to find out how the defaulters are going to be varying with respect to what are these particular variables actually. That's why these variables are nothing but what we call it as X. And whatever the variable we are predicting is going to be nothing but your Y variable. Hope you understood this particular point actually, guys. So the main important here is as an ML expert or as an ML engineer, first of all, what we have to decide here is really this whether the person is a defaulter or not? Is it really depending on the age? Is it really depending on the gender? Is really whether the person is married or not? Will it decide the defaulter? Will the salary will decide the defaulter or not? Or is there any dependency between the defaulter and the credit cards? One thing you remember, guys, don't expect that every variable is going to be decides your target variable. Some of them may decide, some of them may not decide. That is what we have to decide it actually, guys. So maybe if you do a lot of analysis on them, it is going to be a lot of analysis. Yes, Arshad, you have shared some number. Yeah. So once again, guys, this is going to be, so whether the person is really a defaulter or not, we don't know. Whether it may decide, it may not decide. That is what I said that actually, guys. If you do some kind of an exploratory data analysis, what we are going to call it as EDA. So yesterday we discussed some kind of a data analysis is going to be required. some kind of a data analytics is going to be required actually, guys. Why do you really require a data analysis? Because mainly to decide our target variable. That means whenever we want to predict our target variable, which features are basically important for us? Is really age is depending on the age decides the defaulter? Will really the gender decides the defaulter? Or really whether the person is a married or not will decides that? That is what we have to do, which I'm calling it as the data analytics, which you generally call it as exploratory data analysis, guys. So just for a small example, guys, let us talk about an example of a results of tossing a coin actually, guys. We all of you know that a tossing a coin is going to be, we generally call it as a random experiment, guys. It is going to be nothing but what we call it as a random experiment, which we studied in the probability theory actually. Just an example, guys, just an example. We know that whenever we toss a coin, the result is going to be head or a tail. The result is going to be head or a tail. So I've taken totally 5 trials actually, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just an example. So the first one is going to be tail. The second one is going to be head. The third one is going to be again a head. Fourth one is going to be tail. And fifth one is again a head actually, guys. Let us say that there are going to be, these are the results. Actually, we know that the result of a tossing a coin does not really depends on the gender of the person. It does not really depends on gender of the person. Just let us say that I just want to find out, is there any relation is there? Let us say gender. Unfortunately, what happened here is, guys, let us say the gender male, whenever he tossed a coin, the result is tail. Whenever a female tossed the coin, it has been head. Whenever another female tossed the coin, again, we got the head. And whenever a male tossed the coin, it has been tail. And whenever female tossed the coin, it is an head actually. This is the data, what that has been given to us. Simply, let us say that my client is asking, saying that, can you predict the result of the tossing a coin based on the gender? Is there any dependency with the gender or not? Actually, we know that it does not depends on them. Who tosses the coin will never decide the result of the tossing of a coin actually. But simply if I give this data to my machine, guys, machine does not do anything. That means machine does not knows anything at all. I have been given result as a Y and I have given as a result as a X. Actually, this gender does not decide the result, but machine does not knows that. If you give that X and Y, the machine always thinks that the X will decide the Y actually. Simply the machine says that, it's very clear, guys. Just for understanding, I've written a some toy data set. It will simply say that if the gender is equals to nothing but male, if the gender is equals to male, the result is going to be tail. If the gender is not a male, the output is going to be nothing but head actually. It studies this. The machine says that I studied this. I studied this pattern in your data. The machine says that I studied this pattern in your data, saying that if gender is a male, the result is a tail. If the gender is not a male, it is going to be nothing but head actually. But we knows that the gender does not decide that particular result of that particular coin, the tossing the coin actually. So here, what is my main concept here is, my main, whatever I want to make you understand is, this X should be decided by ourselves. This X will not be decided by the system. What is your target? What is your features? That should be decided by a machine learning expert. That is our task actually. How do you decide it? By doing some kind of an EDA. That is an exploratory data analysis. So we do a lot of data analysis, guys. Why do you decide the analysis here is? Why do you do analysis here is? To decide what could be the features. What are going to be the features? Features are nothing but, guys, the independent variables, which decides our target variable. So remember, for every machine learning task, guys, there is a target variable will be there. There is a target variable will be there. Target variable is nothing but what we want to predict it. What you want to predict is going to be nothing but your target variable. This target variable depends on some kind of an independent variables actually, guys. They are going to be called as independent variables, or what we are going to call it as features. So as an ML expert, you have to decide the features actually, guys. We will select which features will decide our target variable. Yeah, Arshad and Mahi, is somebody sharing some numbers? For what reason? Somebody sharing some numbers? Are you getting any messages from DurgaSoft? Yes, Arshad? Mahi? Okay. So why are you sharing the numbers? Any reason to share the numbers? Okay, okay. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, they are DurgaSoft numbers. Okay, okay, fine. Yeah, guys. Okay, fine. So let's continue, guys. Okay, no problem. Let's continue, guys. Okay. So whenever it comes to our variables, so as a machine learning expert, so whenever a task has been given to us, so what are going to be the features and what is going to be our target? That is what exactly. Yeah, here the target variable is nothing but your dependent variable. Absolutely. So because we, as I told you now, guys, your target variable is generally represented as a y, and your features is y, whereas our features are going to be basically represented as which is going to be x actually, guys. So because we want to follow the mathematical functionality, y equals to f of x. So a target variable is defined as a function of which is going to be nothing but that particular x. So what is that function only? We have to find it off actually, guys. So that what is that particular y? So how that particular function? So what is a function which defines your the y value is going to be depending on that particular x value. How it is dependent? That is going to be what we'll call it as the f of x actually. So the machine will try to learn that f of x only, guys. How that particular y is varying with respect to the x, which is what the machine will decide. The machine will learn. Here we have to decide what is your x and what is your y actually, guys. What is your x and what is your y? That is what exactly we have to decide it actually. Okay. So in base, why we are discussing about this one, guys? Today I want to just add some terminologies to them actually. Don't worry about them, guys. Just observe carefully. Later we are going to discuss them. Basically, while we are working with our data analytics, normally in other languages, we call it as data as a number, data as a string, data as a date, something like this, guys. But in our machine learning, in our data science, basically the data is of two types. One is going to be what I call it as a continuous data, guys. And the other one is going to be what we call it as a categorical data, guys. So it's a general terminology we use as actually, guys, continuous and categorical. Generally, what is a continuous data means some kind of a numerical data which is spread across a wide range of data actually, guys. That continuous. I think you know that, guys. In mathematics, you remember in 10+2, we used to say that define that f of x is a continuous functions. What is meaning of a continuous functions means, guys, just to understand them. The range of the numbers can be from -infinity to +infinity. We can't say where it will end. Where it will end, we can't say this, guys. -infinity to +infinity. That is going to be what we call it as a continuous data, where it is going to be spread across a wide range of data actually, guys. There is no limit. There is no limit for that actually. Like for example, whenever we talk about what is going to be the salary of the employees, it can be, generally it cannot be -infinity to +infinity, but the range is very, very large actually, guys. So that is what we call it as a continuous data. Like for example, salaries, okay, what is going to be the loan amount, even age of also we treat it as a continuous only, because you may get a doubt, sir, age can be only between this from here to this here only. Then how can you say that it is a continuous? Generally continuous means some kind of a numbers, which are going to be some real numbers or something like this, we can say that. You know what is meaning of categorical values, guys? Category means nothing but some kind of different values actually. some class of values actually. Like we can say that categorical means easy to understand that it is male and a female, yes or no, something like this. Spam or a positive or negative in medical diagnosis, guys, whether it is a positive or whether it is going to be negative actually. Something like, for example, when I talk about a tweet, whether it is a positive tweet, whether it is a negative tweet, or whether it is a neutral tweet. Some kind of a classes, that means some kind of a categories. There are different types of categories are there. So like previously I have talked about that. The defaulter yes or no, it's a categorical data. It's a categorical data, guys. So result head or a tail, it's a categorical data. Only two classes are there. Tail is there and head is there. So some tails and heads are there. Sometimes it may be 2 class, 3 class, multi classes. It can be 3, 4, 5, as many you can have it actually, guys. So mainly in our machine learning or in our data science, our data is going to be mainly categorized into 2 types. One is a continuous data and other one is a categorical data, guys. Just if you want further timing, you can just check it in the online actually, guys. Categorical versus continuous data. What is categorical? What is continuous data? Categorical variables contains a finite number of categories. That means a limited number of values only will be there, or a distinct groups will be there actually, guys. Continuous variables are numerical values that are having an infinite number of values between any 2 particular values actually, guys. Okay. So don't worry. Once again, later we'll discuss about them, guys. Once again, later onwards, we'll discuss more about this particular ones. So many things are there, guys. For example, mails, whether it is a spam or whether it is a non-spam. Generally, non-spam messages, we call it as ham messages, guys. Spam or a ham, generally that is going to be what we are going to be calling about that. It's a class, it's a categorical data. Don't think that categorical data means always it must be some kind of a text data, guys. Even if you have 0, 1, that is also going to be a categorical data, guys. Yeah, slightly there is a difference, Pavitra, but as of now, let us keep them actually. So categorical and discrete. Actually, discrete values are going to be little bit more number of classes will be there. That is what we call it as a discrete. Generally for our understanding, we'll say discrete and categorical, both of them will treat it as the same actually, guys. Correctly speaking, age is a discrete value, guys. Age is a discrete values because generally age cannot be from, hope you understood the difference, guys. Age is not a continuous data. Age is not a continuous data because the age of the person cannot be from any value to any value. It cannot be negatives. It cannot be only positives. Only up to some extent only we can have it actually. So generally, whenever we have just 2, 3 classes are there, whenever we have 2, 3 categories are there, we call it as categorical. Discrete values are going to be same categorical data, but more number of classes will be there. That is what we are going to call it as the discrete values. Okay, fine. Okay, so whenever we talk about this particular genders, in genders, we don't have multiple classes, only male or a female. Only 2 classes are there. Defaulters, yes and no is there. Sometimes even, for example, you can understand them. Like for example, number of children is there. How many children are there? Chances are possible, sir. Number of children a customer is having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, maximum 4 or 5. Not more than that. We don't have it actually, guys. Maximum possibilities are 0, 1, and 2. But after that, 3, 4, 5, very rare cases actually. Chances are there 3, 4, 5. But we don't have 100 children. We don't have any something like that many numbers actually. These are generally what we are going to call it as a categorical data, guys. Just only 5, 6 classes are there. But when you talk about the age of the person, it can be from, let us say, age of a person who was a customer in my bank. Minimum 18 years, maximum up to 80 or 90 years are there. There are multiple possibilities are there. Those are called as a discrete values. Okay. So as we are still in the beginning classes, you can just verify them, guys. As you can say that also we can verify them, guys. Categorical versus which is going to be nothing but, as I said that, which is going to be nothing but a discrete variables actually, guys. So some people says that both of them are going to be same, but slightly there is a difference is there actually, guys. What is categorical, what is a discrete, and what is going to be continuous variables actually, guys. Okay. So number of, just you can understand them. Discrete variables are also numerical variables that can be having a countable number of values actually, guys, between any two particular values actually. You can see some kind of an examples like number of customer complaints or number of flaws or defects, some kind of a countable numbers actually. Continuous means we can't count them actually, guys. Okay. So that's why, as I told you, some other concepts are required actually. Later we are going to be working with them. Right now, don't worry about that applications. Okay. Fine, guys. That is going to be one of the things actually. Now, why we are discussing about this one is, observe carefully, guys. Your y can be two types of values. Your target variable, guys, which is nothing but a categorical, or which is going to be nothing but it is a continuous, guys. Observe carefully, guys. Adding some new terminology for that today. Whenever your target variable is a categorical, that means if you are trying to predict a variable which is a category or a class, that type of task is nothing but what we are going to call it as a classification task actually, guys. So mainly in our classes, in our machine learning classes, first we are going to start with classification task actually, guys. Classification examples, where we try to predict the target variable, which is going to be nothing but a classification task. As I told you, classification task examples are like, which is going to be diagnosis, whether it is a positive diagnosis or whether it is a negative diagnosis, positive or negative. Whenever we talk about email classification, guys, which is going to be nothing but which may be a spam or which may be ham actually, guys. So many examples are there, guys. Whether we want to go for some kind of an default as data actually, guys, which is going to be nothing but something like yes or no, something like this. These are all going to comes under the classification examples, guys. So if I talk about a classification task, whatever the prediction variable, your y, it depends on the y, guys, not depending on the x. Sir, what is x then? X can be sometimes categorical, or x can be sometimes it can be continuous. Sometimes it can be complete continuous. Sometimes it is completely categorical. Sometimes it is both categorical and continuous combinations also. Okay. So if you are predicting variable, whatever the variable we are trying to predict, if it is a categorical data, that is what we call it as a classification task. Then what is going to be, sir, if it is y, if your predicting variable is a continuous, then it is what we are going to call it as a regression task actually, guys. Actually, these are going to be comes under supervised learning. But right now, if I discuss about what is supervised learning, you can't understand them, guys. Later, I'll tell about that. But anyhow, we are starting with supervised learning first. So yesterday, somebody has asked me, sir, will you do any, I said that we do predictive analysis. Somebody has asked me, sir, will you do any non-predictive analysis actually? Yes, I told you yesterday, which is going to be nothing but unsupervised learning actually, guys. So, but right now you can't understand what is supervised, what is unsupervised right now. So later we'll work on them. But coming to the examples, guys, if the data is a continuous, we call it as a regression task. Example, like predicting which is going to be the insurance value of a car. So how much the insurance value of a car actually, guys? As you know that whenever we apply for an insurance policy for a car, every year the car price will be decreases. The insured amount will be decreases actually. So how that will be decided? It depends on some features actually, guys. As year increases, so there is a depreciation will be there. So insurance charges of a car. So house prices actually, what could be the house prices actually, guys? Predicting the house pricing actually, stock market prices, what is going to be the stock market value, the stock values actually. All these are going to be comes under the regression task actually, guys. Okay. So mainly we'll work with most of the cases, guys, we'll work with these two tasks only. One is a classification, and other one is a regression task. We have some other things like clustering, etc., guys. But most of the real applications, most of them, guys, 80% of the real scenarios in our real time, you will be getting the classification tasks only. 80% will be the classification task only, guys. So remaining 10-15% will be continuous, the regression task. Remaining will be the others actually, guys. Remaining will be some other task will be there. But most of the real examples we do is going to be nothing but 80% there are going to be classification tasks. So we use a different algorithms for different classification tasks actually, guys. Like yesterday I told you about them. Some of the names like KNN, decision trees, SVMs, random forest, These are all going to be comes under classification algorithms actually, guys. If you want, you can just see, just for a small understanding. Right now, you can't understand them, guys. What are going to be classification algorithms? So this one, guys, classification versus regressions. What are going to be the classification algorithms in machine learning? So I told you, which is going to be k nearest neighbors, decision trees, support vector machines, Navi Bayes, logistic regressions. All these are, don't get confused. This is a logistic regression, but it's also a classification task actually. What are going to be regression algorithms, guys? We have a linear regressions, we have a logistic regression, we have a ridge regressions, or we have something like a polynomial regressions. We have a different types of regression models are there, guys. So these are going to be some kind of a regression models actually, guys. So don't worry, which we are going to discuss them in the later applications, guys. Okay, so don't worry, we'll see them. But anyhow, these are going to be the basically some of the important tasks we are going to study them, guys. Some of the tasks what we are going to be studying them. So our target is basically how to solve a classification task, how to solve a classification problem, how to solve a regression problem. So what are the variations them, what are the issues you are going to face, how to handle them. All these are going to be some of the techniques what we are going to be learning as part of our course curriculum, guys. Okay. So any machine learning algorithm, guys, you take any machine learning algorithm, whatever the algorithm we are going to take, you have to take Y, you have to take the X. So simple to understand, in supervised learning, you will be having the Y, guys. In unsupervised learning, you don't have this Y. That's it. That is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning. Class is for 1.5 hour, guys, Vivek. It will be from 9 o'clock to, 8 p.m. to, which is going to be 9:30 p.m. Okay, fine. Yeah, fine, guys. So let's continue because it's an introduction classes now. So maybe I don't take for today, I don't take that much time because I just don't want to immediately start the things slowly. Just I want to just add some, like yesterday I taken 1.5 hour class. Just today I'll take 1 hour. If you have any questions are there, 5-10 minutes, I'll take the questions. And then we'll wind up and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, fine, guys. So once again, what is unsupervised learning, guys? We don't have the Y, we have only the X. So, but you will have a confusion. So without having the Y with X, what I have to do that actually? That we'll study them later. Anyhow, just some of the popular algorithms, guys, classification, regression, clustering. These are some of the algorithms which we are going to see them actually, guys. Okay. So in deep learning, it is going to be neural networks. Neural networks are also some kind of an algorithms only, guys. But they are called as a deep learning algorithms, what we are going to call it as, which we call it as a neural networks actually. Okay, fine, guys. Yes, along with the simple sample task, everything we are going to get the notes actually, guys. I'll share you. I'll just, once the actual classes starts, you will be getting the PDFs actually, guys. This is my, this one actually. It's going to be my the drive actually. You will be getting like this actually, guys. Every day-to-day PDFs will be gets coming actually. Every concepts to concepts, matplotlib, which is going to be the data actually. Even we are going to get all the datas, all the data sets we are going to use, and some of the audio samples actually, guys. We use some audio samples. So we are going to use some audio files, images we are going to use, and your class exercises will be like this actually, guys. Your class exercises will be like this. These are completely my R programming. Every day, whatever I write it in the class, you will be getting the whiteboard notes like this actually, guys. Whatever I write, you can get the notes like this actually. This is a notes, whatever I'm going to do, you can just get that particular notes like this. But from a regular sessions, once the main classes will start, I'm going to be doing this is an introduction to R language actually, guys. On the day, I'm doing some introduction to R language. So this is my class actually, guys. Like this, we are going to get it actually. This is just an introduction to R. Just an introduction to R. We are going to be using this. Like that, every day-to-day class we are going to be getting actually. Yes, we also get the recorded sessions also. Yes, I'll cover the deep learning actually, guys. My main specialization, Vivek, my main specialization is deep learning only. We do the deep learning. Our course curriculum, they will share you the complete course details. Day-to-day schedules and all these things. Just I'll give you one idea. If anybody has been joined for the today's class, just a small review of the whatever the course contents is there, they will share you actually, guys. Yes, data scientist is going to be a little bit different and ML engineer is going to be a little bit different once you will understand them. Data scientist is a little bit different actually, guys. Whereas a machine learning engineer is going to be different actually. As I told you, machine learning engineer means who is having the knowledge about machine learning algorithms. Data scientist means completely, like which is going to be deep learning, NLP, okay, ML, everything. The end to end is going to be completely the full stack data science. He's a data scientist actually. Okay, fine. So you can find the topics here, guys. I can just give you some idea, and this file will also share to your mail IDs from my backend team. You can see the duration of all the classes actually. So core Python will be starting from maybe from the next Monday. We'll start from the core Python actually, guys. 12 days. We'll work with all the different modules actually, guys. NumPy, Pandas, data visualizations, machine learning, even 7 days of 1 week of R classes, deep learning. Main important 2 topics are these 2, guys. Data, the machine learning and deep learning concepts actually. NLP, Plotly and dashboards, the Hadoop and the Spark, just for a small ideas, chatbots development, Azure ML, and even with the Power BI classes actually. So it is only core Python, guys. Vivek, for our machine learning course, you really don't become an expertise in expertise in Python. Only the core Python, whatever the Python concepts you require, only those things I'm going to teach it in the class. So as a complimentary from Durgasoft, so they are going to share you the complete videos of, I think some around, I didn't remember, some around how many videos are there. They are going to share you the videos lectures of Mr. Durga, the Durga sir's videos are there. They are going to share you those particular videos along with them. So to become a little bit more, if you want to learn more about the Python, but that is not required. Just core Python is sufficient, guys. Whatever that is required, I'm going to do that. It's not for a data engineer, Neeraj. It is not for a data engineer. Data engineers are going to be something different from them. Okay, fine. Yes, it's a very simple installations. These are all open sources, guys, Pavitra. These are all open sources. So you really don't worry to work with them. We have a simple package is there, which is going to be. Yes, it will cover data scientist as well as ML engineer, data. You can also say that you can apply for a data analyst. You can apply for an ML engineer. You can apply for a data scientist. You can apply for a data visualization experts. We have a lot of roles actually, guys. So in data science is not that you should become only data scientist. We have a multiple modules are there, guys. You can apply for any kind of a roles actually. Okay, you can be a data scientist or it can be an ML engineer. Nitish. Okay, fine, guys. So that's it, guys. So once again, what I'm talking about here is depending on the Y value, we will decide whether it is a classification task or whether it is going to be a regression task or whether it is going to be a clustering task or what type of task it is going to be. So that is decided based on the Y value. If Y is a categorical, if your predicting value is a categorical, we call it as a classification task. Whenever you're predicting some kind of a continuous data, that is what we call it as a regression task actually, guys. Okay. So mainly we have to decide as a machine learning expert, what is your work actually, guys. As I told you, data is given to a machine actually, guys. But really the machine, the data is not directly given to the machine actually, guys. Data is going to be given to an ML expert first of all. ML expert is going to decide what is going to be X and what is going to be the Y. This is nothing but what we are going to call it as the feature selection or feature extraction. We call it as an feature selection or what we call it as feature extraction. Sometimes we have to extract some new features. Sometimes he has to select the features actually, guys. So based on that, the data will be given to a machine. Now the machine is going to study them and it is going to give you the insights. Based on the insights, it is going to do the prediction. So how effectively this machine is learning is going to be depending on the decision of an X and Y. If you decide the X and Y correctly, the machine also learns correctly. If you don't decide the X and Y properly, the machines can't learn properly actually, guys. Okay. Actually, yes, we are, see guys, our language is going to be, Vivek, our language is completely quite similar to Python. So it is not a matter of how much extent you are going to learn, because whatever we have been learning, whatever the task, whatever the concepts you learn in Python, Every concept I'm going to show it in R language. It won't take that much time. 1 week is sufficient, 7 days. 7 classes are there, guys. 7 classes will be sufficient for this particular R language. Within the 7 sessions, whatever we have been learned almost all for around 40 days in Python, everything I show it in 7 classes, because Python and R is going to be quite similar actually. Everything, whatever you do it in Python, everything I can show it in R language. Deep learning may not work, but coming to machine learning, anything R or Python, both are going to be the same actually, guys. There is no difference. Coming to deep learning, we prefer to go for Python basically, instead of rather than going for R language. Okay, fine. R is a very, it's very powerful language actually, guys. No problem. R language is a very simple. It's a very simple actually, guys. R, Python, everything is going to be same actually, guys. Just if you want to show, I'll just show you one small example. I'll show you one examples actually, guys. This is my R environment. I'm going to open the Python environment, guys. Both of them are going to be quite similar actually, guys. No difference at all. No much difference at all, guys. It's very simple and very easy actually. So this is going to be my Python IDE. So where is my Python IDE? Yes. This is my Python IDE, guys. This is my Python IDE. Just it's a command shell. That means you don't really require any Python editors and all these things. Directly we can work with them. 3.10 is a version actually, guys. Do you want to calculate 10 plus 20? We do 10 plus 20, guys. If we come to the R language, guys, its look and feel appearance will be exactly the same only, guys. You don't find any difference between, because you may find the difference, guys, but I don't find any difference between them. Here we are getting a single angular brackets. Here we are getting 3 angular brackets. Here also I do 10 plus 20. No need to write print. No need to write a C file. No need to write a store the program. No need to compile. All these are not required actually, guys. Directly we do it actually. 6 years of experience. Don't want to lose the least my recent packages. No doubt, guys. Obviously, you will be getting hike based on your current salary only, because we are upgrading yourself. Compulsory, you will be getting a hike based on your current salary. You are not going to lose anything at all. Okay. So see, guys, this is my R language. This is my Python actually. So my Python environment, no declaration of variables. Mainly it is going to be, anyhow, I'll tell you the features actually, guys. No declaration of variables, guys. X equals to 10. Print the value of X. Over. Yes. So this is going to be what we can say, that print the value of X. X is equals to, immediately I can say hello. So there is no declaration of variables. All these are very simplest and very easiest options actually, guys. Same procedure, I do it in R language also. X is equals to, I say hello, over. Immediately I can say print the value of X. Nothing difference is there, guys. X is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Print the value of X, over. That's it. Everything is same as it is in Python. Whatever we do there, same thing as it is, guys. It's a very powerful techniques actually, guys. Just don't worry. I'm just defining a matrix. Hope you have been learned C, C++ languages, guys. How did you prepare a matrix? How did you prepare the matrix actually, guys? It's a very, very complicated way, but here it is going to be a very simple way to create a matrix. This is my matrix actually, guys. Just this is my matrix actually. That's it. In Python also, I can do the same thing. If I want to generate a matrix, I can just generate a matrix actually, guys. It's a matrix, what I call it as. What is going to be the shape of them? What are going to be the dimensions of the M1 actually, guys? You can just ask what is going to be dimensions, which is a 3 by 3 matrix it is going to be. Like that we can do with an application. We can multiply the matrix. We can add the matrices. Anything you can do with an application, guys. Whereas in Python, in Python, we work in a different way actually. For that, we have a separate module will be there actually, guys. The module name is going to be NumPy. Using NumPy, we can generate them actually, guys. Using NumPy, I can generate them. If you want to create a matrix, same matrix, I can create it. So simply I'll say np dot, which is going to be some kind of a range, or it is going to be a range of, which is going to be some 1, 2, which is going to be 10 actually, guys. It will generate like this. We have to just reshape the data actually. All these are going to be just a functions only, guys. Dot, I'm going to reshape the data actually. I want to reshape into 3 by 3. That's it. It will become a matrix actually, guys. It's an array. It's a 2-dimensional array. which we call it as matrix. This is R language Python matrix, guys. This is going to be R language matrix. But both of them are going to be do the same thing actually. But Python follows an object-oriented style. R follows procedural style actually, guys. Not an object-oriented. It's a procedural styles only. Okay, fine. So everything is going to be very interesting, guys, because it is something different from programming languages. Normally, when you learn the programming language, same concepts, same applications, but this is something different. Analyzing the data, understanding the data, predicting the future. So predicting the variables, what we can predict. So how it is predicting, very interesting concept about them, guys. Okay, so that's it, guys, for today's session. So today I don't want to take a more time, because still we just started with a new terminologies today itself. Classification, regression, categorical, Y, X, features, dependent, independent variables. You have been maybe a little bit confused with that. Don't worry. Just within a couple of days, no worries, guys. I'll start with the Pythons. Once you start with the machine learning, you will be getting habituated about all these terminologies, guys. No need to worry about them. Okay. So just for today, we'll end up the session for today, guys. If you have any questions, we can discuss the questions, guys. If you have any questions from any of you, any one of you. Anyone, guys, if you have any questions? Yeah, we'll be sharing the materials, guys. Deepak, we'll be sharing all the course materials and everything. We are going to share them actually. It's a PDF files will be there. Topic by topic, you will be sharing the materials, guys. To the drive, we'll be giving some drive access to you. In that drive, they will be uploading actually, guys. Yeah.
So is there any prerequisite for this course?
There is not a mandatory, but if you have just a small, that means basic mathematics and some knowledge about some kind of in just how the real-time scenarios will be gets done, those things, it's not a mandatory. Everything we can start from everything will start from the scratch only, expecting that everybody will have a zero knowledge. If you have a little bit programmatical skills like other languages like C, C++, Java, you can easily understand them. Otherwise, if you have a completely zero knowledge, also not a problem. But initially, you will find some little bit difficulty. But if you're already having an idea about object-oriented, you will find very easy learning in the Python applications. Okay. Fine. Any others, guys? Any other questions? Fine, guys. So just for today, we'll end up the session, guys. And we'll meet up in the tomorrow's class, same time, same link actually, guys. Maybe from day after tomorrow, you may have the holidays on account of Sankranti here. And we'll start with our regular classes from Monday onwards. Tomorrow we have the class as usual, guys. Okay. Thank you all of you, guys. Yeah, Nitish. Yeah. So how the demand in current market for this course? Actually, we have a huge demand for this particular data scientist actually, guys. But only the thing is, people don't have that much patience to complete the course actually. Mainly, guys, it is going to be a lot of patience in learning as well as teaching. It's not like simple programming language learning. If you can really put some patience and some effort in learning them, really you will be getting a very good packages and good opportunities are there. But most of the people are saying that after learning some half of the course, they will find a little bit difficulty to understand all these things actually. And one more thing is a lot of self-learning is required actually, because whatever, there are so many algorithms are there. We don't have only 5-6 algorithms which we implement in real time. So here we are going to teach you how to understand the algorithms. So once you go to the real applications, you have to learn a little bit more and more algorithms. Self-learning is important mainly. Self-learning, and the motivation for the self-learning I'm going to give you here. So remaining, so 80% is from my hands and 20% is from your hands also. So self-learning, patience, explorations, learning, implementation, okay, research, there are a lot of things we have to do from your side. Really, if we can do this, very good opportunities are there. Okay, fine. Fine, guys. Just I'm ending up the session, guys, and I'm leaving the session, and we'll continue in the tomorrow's class. Thank you all of you guys.